On today's episode of Locked on Avalanche, Mitch Marner is set to become a free agent, and therefore all 32 team fan bases are talking about why they need to bring him in, including the Avs. Let's talk about it on a new episode of Locked on Avalanche.
You're Locked on Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. If you want to get in on the conversation, join our subtext. Link is in the show notes. When you do, chat with Colin and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and share it on this very podcast. We will get to some of our finest season moments, season memories from this last year, and then an off-season wish list, some things that we're hoping that the Avalanche can accomplish during this off-season. Mine is very short, Kyle, so I'm interested to see what you have on your wish list, but there's like one thing on mine, maybe a couple others, depending on how we go, but there's just one that I have just on the wall. Just do this and I'll be happy. So
I have two.
Okay, we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's start with the Mitch Marner talk, because this is what happens when we get to this point in the season. You have the one guy who's the top guy that's going to be the top unrestricted free agent, and then everybody wants to jump in and say, "Yo, this is, could he be a good fit for our team? And should so-and-so team bring him in?" And it's happening in Avalanche circles right now. And I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it because it happens every single off season. The guy who is going to command the most money, top of that list, you entertain it. Maybe it's just a fun exercise to do, but you kind of throw out scenarios and how he could fit in your club. And obviously you're hearing a lot of chatter going on about, hey, could he fit in with Colorado? Could this be the redemption that Chris McFarland gets for the trade of Mikko Rantanen and kind of replace Mikko Rantanen now with, move Marty Nashis down and bring in Mitch Marner, and then everything is solved. Like, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it because there's a lot I have to say on it. But go ahead.
This is one that when I immediately hear the name thrown out there, I say, okay, cool. But with what money?
That is the sticking point that you just cannot get over, is the money part. Yeah.
It's like, I get every episode since the Avs have been eliminated, I get constant Mikko Rantanen stat updates, life updates. Mikko Rantanen is alive and well, and this is what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
They traded him away because guess what? Money. So
right.
Why are we bringing Mitch Marner in here? Who wants more money?
Well, yeah, and I think, like I kind of alluded to it a little bit, maybe people are thinking the Avs are having like some remorseful period here. Like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have traded him away. And we should have paid him that money. And okay, a way for us to kind of fix that scenario, bring in someone like Mitch Marner. I'm not saying Mitch Marner is Mikko Rantanen. Mitch Marner is a heck of a hockey player. And he is asking for more than, really, from what I hear, more than what Mikko wanted and more than what Mikko got. So maybe and I think that's where the conversation is going for the people that are like, bring him in. It's like course correction for letting Mikko go. But I don't think the Avalanche are there, people. I think they committed to why they got rid of Mikko Rantanen for the money reasons, and so they could be a deeper team. I don't think they're looking back, and you heard Joe Sakic say it. I don't think they're looking back on the Mikko thing and being remorseful of it. And I don't think they're gonna turn tail and be like, okay, well then let's try to go after Mitch Marner with the money that we don't have, that we couldn't pay Mikko. It's the money part of it's not there. You could make it if you want to just, again, decimate your team. That's how you do it. But other than that, I don't think the Avalanche are going down that road for a feeling like they screwed up with the Mikko Rantanen thing.
And honestly, to realistically bring him in here for the price tag that you're going to, will that really set the Avs apart from what they were last year? Like just the presence of Mitch Marner? Because I mean, what you're going to have to pay him is going to be Mikko Rantanen money plus what you paid, honestly, Brock Nelson last year. So it just and it doesn't make sense. You still have some things to address team wise. Honestly, it doesn't really make a sense. Like this isn't a yes, he's a great player, incredible player. Like it's one of those teams that like a San Jose, like a Anaheim, like if they bring him in, that's going to change their trajectory for the team. I don't know what if it's going to really matter that much other than name recognition. Like, yes, I know what he can bring to the team, but I don't know if it sets them on a different level.
Well, it might not, because it would hurt your depth again in that aspect. No, but for what he brings, I'm got to be honest, Kyle. Like, I've changed my tune on Mitch Marner this year. I did. I wasn't really sold on him. Not as like he's a really good hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
But did I have him in that like upper echelon of guys? I didn't. I had him like that next level. If you're seeing those things that are on social media all the time, they're like the color coded stuff.
Yeah.
I had him on like that like third, like the elite
yellow,
guys.
Yellow.
Yeah, like the elite guys, and then that next level, and then the level after that, which is still very good. I changed my tune on him this year. I really did. And I feel like maybe that's just him maturing and getting older and just getting, another season under his belt. I think he is a dynamic player. I really do. And you can talk about his postseason and playoffs and how he's not produced, and that is all relevant and that is all real. I just think that it seems like it's heading this way. I think he's got to get out of Toronto. I think Toronto is too big for him. It's too big of a market for him. I think he needs to go somewhere else that's not as big, and he can be the best player on the team without a doubt. Not that he's playing in like Matthew's shadow or anything like that, but he can just be like beloved player, because the Toronto fans are just on him.
Yeah.
On him, and fairly or unfairly, and he will never live up to their expectations. So I think he's likely gone. If you heard him talk after they lost, it seems like he's gone. It seems like he wants to be out of there. This is like a Matt Duchene, grew up loving the team that he eventually played for, and now he wants out. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows when you go to the team that you rooted for when you were a kid. It doesn't always work out that way. And he might seek a smaller market. He might. I'm not saying all this to say he could come to Colorado. I am with you on the money thing. The Avalanche are not going down that road again. Would they be they'd be back to what they were when they had Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
Just very top heavy. You're relying so much on your top lines to do all of the work, and they're just not going to do it. And when you're hearing that he wants like 13 million as like the baseline. And that's kind of where you heard what Mikko was. Obviously, he settled on 12 in Dallas, but the Avs aren't going to go down this road because of the money factor. But if the money was okay and they could afford it, yeah, they would go after him, because I think he would fit in well in Colorado. I really do.
But that's one of those things that we're going to have to honestly do this all off season, is compiling a bunch of mid-tier guys to kind of put them together to make the quality of a Mitch Marner, a Mikko Rantanen. Like, you're going to have to play on the cheap, and it's been the MO for the Avs for the past couple years. Your Drurys, your Nichushkin, your other guys to kind of fill in the hole because of the analytics and the money ball aspect. But I get it. Yes, you would love to have Mitch. It'd be silly to say, no, we don't want to go get Mitch Marner. Yes, everybody wants to get Mitch Marner, but I just don't see it being a feasible option for the Colorado Avalanche. And good luck with your career in Columbus, Mitch Marner.
Yeah, see, I don't know. this is where I was going to bring up somebody. I kind of was like kind of just doing like some reading today and looking up articles and stuff, not just on Marner, just kind of like more for the Avs. Really, I'm not like focused on Mitch Marner for any like particular reason. But it kind of led me down a road of like, okay, like I think I found the guy that I kind of want to hone in on for the Avalanche this offseason. And I was reading an article on Utah. I keep wanting to call Utah Hockey Club. I got to get used to the Mammoth.
That's your New Jersey Devils.
So no, it really wasn't about that. Because I'm going around, I'm looking at like free agents and who could the Avs trade for. And I got to, I'm not necessarily looking at free agents for this year, looking at free agents for next year now. Okay. Like, so this is still someone that has 1 year left on his contract going into this year. Right. And there was a really good point. They weren't connecting the dots with Marner. They were just talking about needing to maybe get rid of this guy because if the Mammoth are going to be a player in the market and bring in a marquee guy, they didn't say Marner, but now I'm thinking Mitch Marner. Yeah. Then this guy is going to probably get dropped down on the line, maybe a middle six guy. And maybe because of that, his production dips a little and now he's tougher to trade. And that guy is Nick Schmaltz. I almost want that to happen. I would be very happy if the Avalanche makes some trade to bring in Nick Schmaltz. And I know it's in the division, and maybe that's a little bit of a sticking point here. But that could be your 2C for next year, if you ask me.
I think, yes, that makes, honestly, I'm sitting here trying to find a reason to say no. It feels like it feels so Avalanche-y to do, make this kind of move and have like Avs fans like get Hockey DB and go like, what? Nick Schmaltz, this is not your marquee guy, but no, this is a perfect fit.
He for Utah, he put up pretty good numbers, nothing outrageous. And I feel like if you give him like an Avalanche bump on a better team, maybe those numbers go up even a little bit more. He was at this last year, played all 82 games. He was at 63 points. Again, but if you can get that out of your second line guy, okay. So just going backwards, 63, 61, 58, 59. So he's in that realm. Money-wise, okay, you paid Casey Middlestat. I got the puck beat up. So you paid Casey Middlestat 5.75, I think it was. So if you were satisfied with Casey Middlestat enough to give him that much money, Schmaltz is making 5.85. He's making $100,000 more.
I can live with that.
And you might be back in the same scenario following next year because he is a free agent and he is unrestricted. But the cap is going up again after next year. So you have that year to deal with him. If you like what he's doing, you can kind of do like a Mackenzie Blackwood. Make a deal with him before the season is over if you like what he's doing. So could Marner go to somewhere like Utah? I think he'd be comfortable there. I think that's but he is a Canadian boy. So I don't know if he wants to leave Canada. That might be tough for him to say like, I still want to play for a Canadian team. Very well could be the point. If he's open to anything, Utah's a team that is on the rise. They are getting better. They could sell him the farm and just be like, dude, like you will be our guy, bar none. And him come in there and that pushes Schmaltz down. And then maybe that makes Schmaltz expendable for Utah.
You know what? Put a bookmark on that one.
Yeah.
Schmaltz, this kind of touches on a point I want to get to when it comes to our offseason wish list in a little while.
Okay. All right. So yes, just keep it in the back of the memory bank, everyone. Just like it could be a good one for the Avs to go down. And I'm interested to see what people's thoughts are. Because Schmaltz has been a guy that's been on the trading block, it seems like, for the past few years. But everybody has been for the Coyotes / Mammoths. But now that they're improving, do they want to get rid of guys like him? Maybe not. But if they do want to go after someone like Marner, maybe it makes sense to make room. You get rid of his salary cap. You bring it might make sense. Keep it in the memory bank. And if it happens, I will be the new Avs GM. So
Oh boy.
There we go.
Another from C Mac to C Mick.
Yeah. Love it. All right. So when we return, we will get into some of the season memories, moments that kind of stuck with us now that the season has officially ended a couple weeks ago, and we've kind of had time to recollect and talk about them. There's a lot, but we'll kind of whittle these things down. So we'll do that coming up next. All right, let's talk about wonderful pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with wonderful pistachios. It's one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. We've talked about going to the website, and they have like all different flavors that you can order from and by the bag. They also have cooking recipes on their website, Kyle.
Ooh.
I'm gonna throw some of these out here at you, my man, and you might like these.
Bring it.
And I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna go right to dessert.
Oh.
Vegan dark chocolate, and with wonderful pistachios layered on top, pudding. A dark chocolate pudding with pistachios on top.
That does sound really, really good.
Give you and even wonderful pistachios. Strawberry orange yogurt is another one they have on there. Wonderful pistachios, coconut crusted chicken.
Oh, yes, please.
Give me that all day. And how about some wonderful pistachios and apricot stuffed pork roast?
Oh,
they're all there for you, people. They're all there. They're right on the website. I just found these like today. So I know what we are doing the rest of this week in the Maselli household when it comes to dinner time. I'm going to make some of those. I'm not even kidding you.
That sounds really good.
Right. So get snacking, get cracking, and get cooking. Hey, why not? With the snack that packs a protein punch, visit wonderfulpistachios.com right now to learn more. All right, now I'm hungry. But what we're going to do now is kind of dive into the DeLorean and just go back just a few months and kind of go over the season that was and some memories and moments that have stuck out for us all throughout the year. I got a bunch, but we don't have time to talk about all of them. Go for it. I'll throw it over to you first. Something that really sticks with you, or a few, however you want to do it.
I just an honorable mention before we get deep into the Avs memories. We can't go into next year without stick taps to the incredible substitution that we had for the All-Star game and the Four Nations. I think that was monumental. Not just it was monumental. And you had Nathan McKinnon really standing out, and just that tournament, the spectacle of hockey. I think that was probably one of the best things, depending on how this playoffs end story-wise. I think this is the number one thing you could talk about for this entire season was the success of the Four Nations.
It was huge. It was huge. Can't be understated. Really took the countries by storm, and it's exactly what they needed. You couldn't have another All-Star game, and look what's happening. It's sounding like the NBA is going to steal the idea.
Yeah.
And because it worked. And for a couple weeks, just like when the Olympics come around, hockey was the talking point. Hockey was the sport that people were talking about because the Super Bowl was ending and football was over. And, people kind of turned to basketball after that, and baseball's about to get started. But bam, here comes hockey with a tournament that just people were like, oh, this is fun. And thank the players too for going all out. They could have just went out and gone through the motions, but you got to give as much credit to them as just the sport of hockey, because they went out and gave people a show.
And it's got us tuning into the IHF just to be like, maybe we get another taste of that. Yeah, but it's kind of close.
Right. Yep. I agree with you there. The first one that I want to talk about is the one that I was at in New York at Madison Square Garden. What a game. Cale Makar comes out of the penalty box and just picks off a pass. They go the other way, score a goal with he passes it to Lehkonen, I believe it was. and with like 14 seconds to go. Thought we were heading to an overtime. Just seemed like we were. Well, I mean, the Rangers were on the power play, so could have been they could have ended it with just minutes to go. But Cale Makar it was beautiful.
That was a great
Just
game.
beautiful. And you just when he came in and swooped in and picked the puck off, I'm watching. I'm like, is there enough time? There was plenty of time, but it's just like your adrenaline is pumping, and I just keep looking up at the clock and like it. Oh my god, you just slowly get out of your seat, and then I think I jumped so high I put a hole in that MSG ceiling, that iconic ceiling. But what a game! What a game! What a play! Awesome to be there and witness that was great.
Yeah, I love that moment, and that was, I mean, it hit at the right time. Like, it was a good moment and really building towards, a better Avalanche team from that really rocky start. Pardon the Denver pun, but like that was a great finish.
Well, and that was that like their first game without Mikko, or maybe that was their first game with.
That was
No,
that was like right after the trade, because I remember you sending me NHL store. Kane's
yes, they had
Mikko
his jersey there. Yeah, so that was one of the first games without him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that could have went south. It could have had like a Mikko trade hangover. But they ended up winning it. Great moment.
And I want to throw into, it's probably the hidden gem of the season, and honestly, we might forget it. And I want to give it its due. March 6th, 7-3 over the San Jose Sharks. Cale Makar, 6 points.
Six pointer, yeah.
Nathan McKinnon, 5 points. Both players combined for 11 points in this game, which, another fun fact, before this game started, the San Jose Sharks trade Avalanche legend Nico Sturm to the Florida Panthers before the game even starts. But at the time, Nate was still working on his home point streak. The Avs had 5 in a row at this point. Like, that was a great game, good vibes game, and a really good, like, you had 2 of your stars, 11 points in one game.
Huge.
It's,
yeah.
I mean,
I know it's the Sharks, but still, it's a professional team, and he gave it to them.
It's one of those that I don't want to forget that game, because it really sent Cale into the stratosphere. Started knocking down records from that point on. Nathan McKinnon continued doing it. That was a great game.
There was one game. It was we were all looking forward to the Valeri Nichushkin return, and then we got that. But we also had Jonathan Drouin and Miles Wood return in the same game. All 3 of those guys came back in the same game. The Avs ended up losing to Washington, but it was a good moment nonetheless to finally get Val back and Drouin and Miles Wood. Although Miles Wood had a difficult season. That was his first game back, so that was fun to see that. The comeback win in Buffalo was huge. That was a fun, entertaining game. Buffalo had your number in that first period, but the Avs, they come back and win that game, and then they did it again in Denver. And that was when Wedgwood got hurt. Remember when I don't remember who fell on him and they didn't call anything. Wedgwood is in the net, just in pain. They let the play continue. Buffalo scores a goal, which just the goal itself was annoying. I can't remember who scored it, but whoever it was just celebrated like he won the Stanley Cup. That bothered me. That rubbed me the wrong way. And what the Avs do, they came back in that game. They won that one in overtime. So the 2 games they play against Buffalo, entertaining, come from behind victories. And the whole Wedgwood thing, when he, that injury stuff, that was great to see that, because it's one of those games that just gets you fired up for a no call like that, and to come like storming back again was awesome.
And and to our earlier points on Mitch Marner and kind of like coming back to a loss and Valeri Nichushkin, one more game I want to throw out there. The 2 days later from the San Jose Sharks game, Colorado Avalanche topple the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-4, back-to-back touchdown games. Valeri Nichushkin gets a hat trick.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was The Avs are really cooking in March. That was a fun stretch.
Was that a natural hat trick for him, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so, yeah.
It could have been, if I'm not mistaken on that. But either way, it's awesome. But yeah, that was good. A couple other that I have. The Ross Colton face goal. Yeah. I think those against Minnesota, and just the excuse me goal and the look on his face is just epic. It's an epic meme right now. There was a game, their last game before the Four Nations break against Edmonton. That was a fun game. Go watch on YouTube. They have those 8-minute summary videos. Go watch that one. Exciting, entertaining game that the Avalanche won right before the Four Nations. That's what you wanted, like just to have a win before that break. They got that, and then kind of like there was one game early on, a Sam Girard overtime goal against Nashville.
Yeah,
early on in the season, and just he kind of poked the puck away from God, I can't remember who that was, but there was a penalty called, so it was either going to be he ended the game, or the Avs were going to be on a power play, and he took it to the house and scored a goal. That was a fun one.
That was
fun. I think it was it Brady Shea? I could be wrong, but I don't remember. Anyway, so those games, and then just like the individual moment, getting Eric Johnson back was fun. Yep. Was awesome. The Makar 30th goal and the McKinnon 1000th point.
Yep,
were obviously big moments, and you have to the biggest moment, maybe one of the biggest moments in Avalanche history, obviously, is Gabriel Landeskog's return.
Yep.
Cannot be minimized. We'll be talking about that for years to come. Even after he's retired, we're just going to look back on that whole 3 years that led up to both of them. I don't want to minimize the return to the Eagles too, because that was just as exciting and important as his return to the Avs. So those two moments, and then he scores with the Eagles, just awesome. So that one by far is your number one story. And it could win him an award for his dedication. Yeah.
And that return, especially to the AHL, was a beautiful, like, opening of everything. Like when Flow Hockey's like, yeah, we're going to put this game on for free. Great exposure to the AHL, because everybody knows this is a National Hockey League story. Not just Avalanche fans were invested in that. So to have the access to the AHL on a free level, you just pull it up and get to witness a really good game in the AHL for free. I thought that was beautiful. Get to see Landeskog return and his eventual return to the Avalanche and scoring that goal. I mean, it's beautiful, and we're going to be talking about it for a long time, and you're going to be seeing that in clips forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's for in Avalanche world, that is, like lifting the Stanley Cup. That is Ray Bourque getting the Stanley Cup from Joe Sakic, like esque. It's almost like as big of a story as that. I don't want to say, winning the Stanley Cup is the almighty story, but just following this team, seeing everything that he went through, as far as a storyline goes, it's massive.
Yep,
it was massive. So, any others that you have, or is that
you nailed all mine? Like I could throw in honorable mentions all day long. The 5-1 win over the Devils in February, coming back from fight, like that was a huge game at the time. Huge game, and the Avs were starting to really roll at that point, and that led into that March that I mentioned. But that was really that sweet spot, the end of February into March. The Avs were starting to really click, and then up and down through the rest of the way. But that was a really good stretch that I just don't want to forget.
And we could do a whole nother thing on the trades and just all the moves that they made. The goalie moves, obviously the Mikko Rantanen, like that is a moment. That is a memory. It's maybe not a good one for Avalanche fans, but it happened in this year. And as much as we're talking about Gabe Landeskog for the good things that brought to the team, and how we're going to be talking about that forever, we are going to be talking about the Mikko Rantanen trade for a very, very long time too. Maybe not in the way we want to, but can't forget that it happened this year. So that's a big moment. And then the trade deadline when they were active, the 0-4 start to the season. It was a busy year for the Avalanche. It was a wild ride, as most seasons are, highs and lows. But it was another entertaining one. Didn't end the way you want it to, obviously.
And the start of the Jimmy Vesey era in Colorado.
Hey now. So, all right. So we have the wish list up. Do you want to hold on off to that for
We can hold it.
tomorrow? Because there are some, like I said, the one that, and I alluded to it during the memories. So I'll keep people guessing as to what that is.
And I have a name to add to the list.
Okay. All right. And we'll throw it out to the subtext people too. Some wish list stuff that they have for this offseason heading into next year. So we'll do that. And we mentioned Ross Colton. We have his grade coming up for tomorrow as well. So we'll cut things off there and then come back tomorrow with a nice beefy episode for everybody. So
look at that. That's a podcast tease right there. I think we might be,
man.
We might be good at this.
Man, 6 years. We're finally getting the hang of it. So, all right. So tune in tomorrow because that's going to be a fun one. But for this one, that is going to wrap it up, everybody. So thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He's Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you tomorrow where you made it through another 24 hours where Sidney Crosby's that much closer to being with the Colorado Avalanche. That'll be a memory.
Or Mitch Marner.
Oh, don't. There we go.